Okay, so I have a disclaimer to make. I am not an activist of gender issues. No, I am a woman, so that counts. And I am from a developing country, so I get 2 brownie points, but I am not an activist. So I am going to talk about what we are doing on research and development to promote fair and equitable access to vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics, and other research in WHO. The first thing I want to say is that we work end to end, so we are not getting engaged and promoting research that just finds the results without taking into consideration the access. So I work in a team, and I am the co-lead of a team called the Research and Development Blueprint. That is a WHO-wide team that have the vision and the mission that is written here. And we work for emerging epidemic diseases. This is why we are working on COVID. When we have meetings, we are very lucky that we have a great audience, and we think the first way to get gender equity is to get equity, full stop, and to have democratic knowledge accessible to everybody. So this is from our forum in May. We have 29,000 people from all the countries all around the world, except a couple of countries in Central Africa, participating. And for that, that's the most important thing. And in all our consultations, including the one we are having on September the 3rd, we have always more than 2,000 people registered, and very often between 5,000 and 10,000. So that's one thing that is very valuable and important for us. The second thing is that we have clear goals for this pandemic, that is the acceleration of the innovation and the research, but also for the future, that it means that we are preparing the global research platforms, global ways in which people can collaborate, researchers all over the world can collaborate in what people say is the global south. I call it my towns, okay? So then, what is going on? Yes. This slide is to show you the extent of our efforts of collaboration and the acknowledgement and the thanks we give to all these thousands of researchers from all around the world that have joined us from the beginning of the pandemic. So I am not exaggerating. We have more than 3,000 researchers, not that click to one of our meetings, but that are members of committees, deliberations, meetings, that participated in reviews of documents, etc. And we have more than 1,000 institutions that also do the same, that collaborate with us, that participate. That's very important. Beyond COVID, we are working in a number of priority diseases, and here in green is the ones for which we have done what we think is important to prepare for research, to have a clear roadmap of what is known, what is missing, to have target product profiles, TPPs for the vaccines, the therapeutics, and the diagnostics, to have a regulatory framework that could accompany this work, and also to work on protocols so that whatever the research is done is of the highest quality and has an intention and the possibility to generate robust estimates, not only boutique studies. This is what happens in COVID. As you know, thousands of trials were initiated all around the world for therapeutics. But that's the positive thing, that lots of people start randomizing drugs and therapeutics all around the world. The sad part of it, and the problem with compartmentalization, with nationalism, with everybody trying to be the first ones, is that we have thousands of trials who have not contributed to any global policy discussions or local discussions because they were too tiny, because they were never completed after they started. So, and only a handful of trials have really provided information that we can act on. So the first thing is not to segment the field, but to actually contribute to the mainstream discussion. By transforming the mainstream discussion, you can achieve more than segmenting the field. I read in your documents that the gender is not reported, so I wanted to give examples that you are unfortunately or luckily not correct, that all the trials are now reporting gender. And I took a special pride because our WHO Solidarity trial actually reports on gender and gender outcomes in the report that is available in the internet in the New England Journal of Medicine, and we intend to do the same for the final. But I used the other large platform trial that you know have contributed with results the recovery trial, and I check, and they also report on gender. So yes, it's true that not everybody reports on gender outcomes, but this is changing, so you should congratulate yourself because the things have moved on. Now, on the trial designs for vaccines, there are many trials ongoing, several of them in phase 3. You know that we have a lot of vaccines that now have been receiving emergency use. One has received full authorization, but the sad part, and in WHO, we are tired of discussing inequity in access. Our Director General has talked about it. There is no way in which inequity could be talked about in a diplomatic way, as Dr. Tedros says. There is no diplomatic way to talk about it. So this is why we continue to push forward with more candidate vaccines being evaluated, with more candidate vaccines coming into the race. Because if we don't do that, if we stay with the ones we have, it will be very difficult to transform the status quo. You also know that WHO is working on all fronts, improving the policy, expanding the capacity to produce, debating intellectual property, etc. But having new horses in the race is as equally important as all these other strategies we are taking care of in WHO. Then, what is happening? Then there is the emerging issue of the variants. This is critical, and I just want to spend 1 minute to tell you that we are working on this, that we have created a committee, that we are developing the tools and providing on our website systematic analysis of all the variants of concern and their distribution, but also of the effects or lack of the effects that they're having on different vaccines and therapeutics that are being used.
This boy, I'll continue tomorrow.
Excuse me? So I continue. So on trials, the voice we want to give to you is that platform trials, large trials with the governments and the member states and the researchers from the South at the center of this trial is the way forward, and we want to promote that. That's the best way to promote opportunities for boys and girls, young researchers, male or female, to participate, to engage in the research. The second thing that we want to promote is that when you do research, you have to have a fair and equitable access in mind. That if you are discussing including a drug in your trial, in your research, scaling up of manufacturing, issues related to intellectual property, technology transfer, capacity to produce and access, fair and equitable access should be prioritized. This is what we do in WHO whenever we include any drug or any vaccine in our trials, and we are encouraging all our partners to do the same. Coordination is really important. Thank you for inviting us. This tells me that I have to repeat what we always say. We are not building capacity. We are providing access to opportunities to researchers, male and female, all around the world. That we should not have a patronizing approach of building capacity like if there is nothing there. We are giving access to opportunities, and as a woman from the global side, I am personally very passionate about that. So together we have a roadmap. You can visit this in our website. It was published in our website. And I want to finish by saying that since I am not the activist of gender, I just want to say WHO has been working on gender and inequality regarding COVID and COVID vaccines. We have insisted that we have to put gender equity at the forefront. The women are at the center of the response and constitute the majority of the healthcare workers, and it's important for them to be protected and respected, and that as long as the virus circulates anywhere among women and men, nobody is protected. So finally, WHO has a wonderful, funky website, and I want you to visit it where you can engage in all kinds of documents related to gender issues and what we are doing in COVID and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Asha, are you happy for me to pick up here?
Yes, thank you so much, Ana Maria. Over to Pascal. I know we're out of time, so thank you, Pascal, for closing us out, and thank you for sharing those words, Ana Maria. We look forward to working with you.
And I'd like to say thank you again, and I do want to acknowledge and possibly for all of us to take some credit for the reporting now, or increased reporting now, of sex disaggregated data, and we hope there will be lots more of it. I think a lot of the reason that this process was started was partly advocacy, but really partly incredibly passionate about making sure that there is a diversity of voices that come to the table. And I think one of the really nice things that has come out of the COVID effort is just seeing how much researchers have rallied together. Your presentation shows amazingly, and just the response that you get from this R&D blueprint work is a really nice example of how it is we put aside our rivalries and competition, and really rallied together for mankind, for people kind, towards the COVID effort. And this is exactly what we're trying to do with this project as well, which has provided an opportunity for civil society organizations, for policymakers, for researchers, for a whole range of both feminist groups and those who don't necessarily think of themselves as feminists, but as just researchers, to really come together. And just listening to the presentations as well, it's really valuable seeing how all of us can now push back in those meetings that say, well, gender is not important, it's just about the COVID effort, because it's very clear from the questions that have been prioritized that there are in fact concerns from consumers, from patients, from researchers, from health workers, and so on, that do relate to gender, that are not quite being captured in those high-level research agendas that are part of the R&D blueprint. So now that we have you, we are going to keep you, and we're going to keep knocking on your door to make sure that as we bring we open up the spaces for people to engage in what the priorities are for them, that there is a space in the larger R&D blueprint work to make sure that some of these concerns are heard. I will hand back to Asha and to R&J, I think, to talk about what the next steps are and how we can continue to engage with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So as R&J puts up the slide, we have, we're releasing the different translations. The French translation is ready to go. We're hoping to have Spanish and Portuguese come online this week or early next week. So it would be fantastic to ensure there are diverse voices contributing to the agenda. And then we'll circle back to you we have until the end of September to complete the surveys, and then circle back in October, November on consolidating the responses and sharing with you and discussing what the results are. Over to R&J.
Nothing much to add, Asha. Just want to say thank you to everyone for attending this webinar today. The progress that we've made since we started this project has really only been possible because of the amazing engagement from you, all the participants. So just want to tell you how to continue to engage with us. Firstly, please sign up at the ghhbuzzboard.org. Here you can stay updated to what's going on new in the project, and also see the expansive online discussions that have really formed the foundation of our current thematic surveys. And as Asha just mentioned, to have your insights reflected in the ultimate outcome, please fill in a thematic prioritization survey. English has been out for a while, and French, Portuguese, and Spanish links will also be sent in the next couple of days. Aside from that, follow the Gender and Health Hub on Twitter. The Twitter handle is on your screen, and also sign up at the Hub website. That's it really. Once again, thank you so much for your participation, and we look forward to receiving your insights.
Thank you, everybody. I know we're over time and everyone's incredibly busy. We really look forward to your continued engagement and to bring you all back with the final results. Wishing everyone a good day, a good evening, It's late at night in Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, and those of you in the Americas are just starting. Let's stay in touch to keep the conversation going. And I'm delighted that we've made new connections and ways of staying in touch as this research agenda develops. Thank you, everyone.